All right. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. We are back. We are continuing on with our look at the triennial Torah portion. Today we're going to be looking at Numbers chapter 10. Numbers chapter 10. And we're going to be talking about make two silver trumpets. Make two silver trumpets. Okay, as we look at this, we want to, as always, think about the fact that these scriptures that we look at, they had a physical, literal significance. The Most High gave these words to a specific people in a specific time to do specific things. We also know that this word is spiritual, so we want to be able to gain some sort of spiritual significance from what we see over here. And I saw some interesting things that we're going to go over. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and read through the chapter, and then we'll go back and deal with these silver trumpets. Okay, so we'll just begin by going ahead and I'll pull up the verses. We'll just read through the chapter. Let's see here. Pull this up. Okay. Let's see here. All right, if you could read that.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Make two silver trumpets for yourself, make them of beaten work, and you shall use them for the gathering of the congregation and for breaking camp. And when they blow, all the congregation shall meet before you at the door of the tent of appointment. And if they blow one, then the leaders, the heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather to you. And when you blow a shout, the camps that lie on the east side shall depart. And when you blow a shout the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall depart. They blow a shout for them to depart. And when the assembly is to be assembled, you blow, but do not shout. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, blow with the trumpets, and it shall be to you for a law forever throughout your generations. And when you I think I was on 7. Oh, no. Generation. And when you go out, verse 9, and when you go into battle in your land against the enemy that distresses you, then you shall shout with the trumpets, and you shall be remembered before Yah your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies. And in the day of your gladness, and in your appointed times, and at the beginning of your new moons, you shall blow the trumpets over your ascending offerings, and over your slaughterings of peace offerings. And they shall be a remembrance for you before your Elohim. I am Yah your Elohim. And it came And it came to be on the 20th day of the second new moon in the second year that the cloud was taken up from above the dwelling place of the witness. And the children of Israel departed, setting out from the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud dwelt on it in the wilderness of Paran. Thus they departed the first time according to the mouth of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. And the banner of the camp of the children of Yehuda departed first according to their divisions, and over their army was Nashon, son of Aminadab. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Issachar was Nathaniel, son of Tisorah. And over the army of the tribe of Zebulon was Eliab, son of Helon. And the dwelling place was taken down, and the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari departed, bearing the dwelling place. And the banner of the camp of Reuben departed according to their divisions, and over their army was Elitzur, son of Shedeor. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Simeon was Shemuel, son of Tishoreshadai. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Gad was Elasaph, the son of Deuel. And Kohathites departed, bearing the set apart objects while the dwelling place was set up before they came. And the banner of the camp of the children of Ephraim departed according to their divisions. And over their army was Elishama, son of Ammihud. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Manasseh was Gamaliel, son of Pedahsur. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Benjamin was Abidan, son of Gideoni. Then the banner of the camp of the children of Dan, which formed the rear guard of all the camps, departed according to their divisions. And over their army was Eiezer, son of Amishhaddai. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Okran. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. Such was the order of the setting out of the children of Israel, according to their divisions when they departed. And Moshe said to Hobab, the son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moshe's father-in-law, we are setting out for the place of which Yahweh said, I give it to you. Come with us, and we shall do good to you. For Yahweh has spoken good concerning Israel. And he replied to him, I am not going, but I am going to my own land and to my relatives. Then he said, please do not leave us, because you know how we are to camp in the wilderness, and you shall be our eyes. Go with us, then it shall be that whatever good Yahweh does to us, the same we shall do to you. So they set out from the mountain of Yah on a journey of 3 days, and the ark of the covenant of Yahweh went before them for the 3 days' journey to seek out a resting place for them. And the cloud of Yahweh was above them by day when they went out from the camp. And it came to be, whenever the ark set out, that Moshe said, rise up, O Yahweh, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee before you. And when it rested, he said, return, O Yahweh, to the countless thousands of Israel.
Okay, all right. Very good. Okay, so we see over here in this final part where some of the things that we looked at previously in terms of the whole idea of the camps gathering together, being led by a particular elder of each group and moving accordingly. We see that the people of Israel were doing that over here. Um, we also talked about the fact of them moving as the cloud by day and the fire by night um, moved, and we also see that over here. But what I wanted to pay close attention to was up at the beginning when we looked at where it talked about these silver trumpets. Okay, in verse 2, we're talking about making make two silver trumpets for yourself. And so they had these trumpets that they made, and they blew them when there were gatherings, right? And so the people that was in charge of the blowing of the trumpets, they had to know, when the gatherings was, right? And they had to blow them, right? When they gathered together the heads of Israel, right? There was a certain way that they blew the trumpets, right? And so these people, these ones who was the trumpet blowers, they had to have some type of a knowledge as to actually how to use this instrument, right? Um, they blew a camp a shout for the east. The people that was on the east, there was a sound, right? There was a shout for the people on the south side. It says they blew a shout. There was different ways that the horn would be blown, depending on who was being summoned. Okay, what you were doing, whether it was for assembly, for worship, or whether it was for battle, right? We see, when we look at here, there was an alarm that was blown if it was, something, they was about to go and get into some war or something, or they could have just been coming together, as I said, for worship, right? And so these blowers of these trumpets, they had to be knowledgeable about what was going on in the nation so that they was able to communicate these things, these alarms to the people at these um, particular times. And so what we want to do is we want to look at a couple things over here in verse 2. Let's pull this up here. We get our tools together over here. Let's see. We want to look at, it says, make them of beaten work. So that's going to be of a whole piece. That's going to be this right here, which is mik miksha. Okay, that word, it means rounded work that is molded by hammering, right? There could be molded by a mold, like you have like a mold where they would pour the hot molten stuff, silver, into a mold, a cast, and do it that way. But this way, they had a chunk of metal, and it was beaten into shape, right? It was a rounded work, molded by hammering, beaten. Let's see here. That is the feminine version of this word here, mikshe, which it says is the sense of knotting up, round and hard, something turned round, that is a curl or tresses, something that's turned round. So something that then began round, but it ended up being round. If you think about something knotted, it could be somewhat of a skill to put something in a knot. A knot that's actually going to hold and do something, right? Um, yes, I have a few go-to knots that I use. Um, you know, I'm not a skilled knot maker, but I have a few reliable go-to knots. Yeah, yeah, I got some situations over here. But even when you think about putting a knot in something, right? There's turning, there's pulling, there's like cinching involved. There's a lot of things involved in this knotting, and you're taking um, the thing that you're knotting, you're taking it and reforming it, right? You're reshaping this thing, okay? And so when we look at this word over here, that's translated as this whole piece, or they're making this thing into this beaten work. It's interesting that when we look at this thing, this word in the Hebrew has these connotations of reforming or reshaping, or not only reshaping, but the reshaping that's done by beating. Okay? So that word that is used over here is, it comes from this word kasha, which means to be dense, or that is tough, to be cruel, fiercer, grievous, hard or hardened, or labor. And so we have, again, um, when you take these things, I remember watching, I always remember watching, I mean, it's a terrible movie. Some parts of it are pretty terrible. But I always remember the original Conan the Barbarian movie, where them people, they was like, they were excellent sword makers, where the the James Earl Jones character came and killed the whole people, and took the famous sword that the dad had made, or whatever. But when he was making it, you seen that that thing was beaten, hardened steel is steel that's beaten. So it's beaten to be made into this perfect thing over here. And so also, when we think about this word over here, the root of this word, which is this one we're looking at here, kasha. I want to look at this here. Let me see if I can pull up the whiteboard. Oh, I didn't prepare the whiteboard properly. Get out my eraser. Okay, so this word here, kasha, is a kaf, which kaf looks like this little thing that comes down. A sheen. And a hay. And so in the ancient, the kaf is the sun at the horizon. So you have the idea of something being condensed, um, or something, coming in to a point being concentrated. The sheen, which is the two front teeth, which you have the idea of pressure or tightness, and hay, the hay is the man with his arms raised, which gives you the idea of breath. So we always think about the breath as being something that causes you to think about, the things that kind of uh, uh, empower you internally, which would be your breath. And so when you think about this word, it's a concentration or a gathering together with pressure and tightening, right? These things that was formed to be used as an instrument to call the people into action, were this thing that is a consecration, a concentration, or a gathering together, um, with pressure and tightening. And so before before um, any action was able to take place, first of all, you had to make these trumpets, right? The first thing it said was make these two silver trumpets, right? And so, in order to have someone who was able to call the people into action, these trumpets had to be made, right? So, before there could be any work that could be done, there had to be this transformation into the instrument, right? The instrument had to be formed first so that its job, calling the people into action, could be done. And so that's what we kind of want to deal with, thinking about ourselves, because when we think about ourselves as the people of the Most High, we, um, to whatever degree, um, are created to call the Most High's people into action. And so when we think about, um, from that perspective, we really are silver, these silver trumpets, right? But these silver trumpets have to go through a process before they're able to do their job, right? Being made with this beaten work. Let's see here. Let's see here. Cam over here says Exodus 25:31, the candlestick menorah of beaten work as well. Yes, when we think about also the menorah, was the same way, where it's, now we're talking about gold with the menorah, but it's the same concept where you have this thing that's used to be a light for the priest to be able to see, as he does his work. Is this beaten work, this thing that's created out of beaten work. And so like unto that we see with these silver trumpets. We want to look at these trumpets a little closer. Let's look over here at Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah. Yeshayahu. Can't see that. 50. What happened? Isaiah 58 and 1. What's that say right there?
It says, "Cry aloud, do not spare, lift up your voice like a shofar. Declare to my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins."
Okay, so it says over here, lift up your voice like a trumpet or a shofar to make this blast, to make this sound crying out to the people. But again, we think about Numbers chapter 10, the person who was blowing the shofar had to be aware. The one that was blowing these silver trumpets had to be aware what was going on so that he was able to perform his task over here. And so over here, where the Most High speaking through the prophets, saying that this person who's crying aloud to the people is doing it and behaving like the trumpet. Let's look at 27:13. 27:13.
It says,
Yes.
"And in that day it shall be that a great shofar is blown, and those who were perishing in the land of Asher and the outcasts in the land of Mitzrayim shall come and shall worship Yahweh on the set apart mountain in Jerusalem."
Okay, very good. So, oftentimes in the scripture, we see where we have these trumpet blasts being used as these calling out to the people, right? We know that the Most High has given his people the duty of crying out to the people. But what we want to talk about is these people, just like there was a type of qualification that was necessary to happen uh, for the trumpet, the same thing is true for those that are doing the work of the Most High. Because if we look over here in Matthew, look over here in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, Matthew 7, start reading at verse 3.
It says, "And why do you look at the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not notice the plank in your own eye? Or how is it that you say to your brother, 'Let me remove the splinter out of your eye,' and see, a plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite! First remove the plank from your own eye, and then you shall see clearly to remove the splinter out of your brother's eye."
Okay, very good. When we think about the idea of helping other people or causing other people to be aware of the situations that they are in, we should always think about these verses over here. Um, Yeshua is saying, you sitting up here looking at your brother's eye, who your brother, he got a splinter in his eye. But you got this big old plank in your eye. So how you gonna sit up here and talk to your brother who got a splinter in his eye, and you got a beam in your eye? And so when we think about the idea of a the trumpet, the silver trumpet, that silver trumpet was this thing that was beaten and formed and shaped and transformed into the instrument that was able to be used for the calling together, for the alarming, for the gathering of the people. There was work that was put in that we don't even see over here when we just look at Numbers chapter 10, verse 2, where it says, "Make thee two trumpets of silver of a whole piece, you shall make them." When we see that right there, there's all kinds of work that goes into behind the scenes work that we don't even see, that must happen before the trumpet can be used. Just because you haven't seen it don't mean that it didn't have to happen. Right? It had to happen, right? In order for the trumpet to be even qualified to be in use. And so the same thing is true when we look over here in Matthew chapter 7. Yeshua is telling these people, by all means, judge your brother. By all means, judge him. But don't be sitting up here trying to judge him and you haven't judged yourself first. Cause you got a big old plank in your eye, and you sitting up here worrying about the splinter in somebody else's eye. And so when we think about that, you know, again, something else that we could think about in terms of the person who we're thinking about as a representative of this trumpet, um, this instrument that's being used for the calling of the people. There's discernment. There's discernment involved, right? Because if we remember back in Numbers, you know, the person who was blowing this trumpet that was beaten with a hammer had to know what was going on so that he could communicate that to the people, right? So he had to be able to know and discern the times, to know when it was necessary to call this one or that one, or whatever he had to do, right? And so when we think about here, let's look at, let's see here. Let's pull up this dictionary here. Let's talk about this. Oh, then if I can get this bigger where we can see it. Okay, the act of discerning, also the power or facility of the mind by which it distinguishes one thing from another, as true from falsehood, virtue from vice, acuteness of judgment, power of perceiving differences of things or ideas and the relations and tendencies. The errors of youth often proceed from the want of discernment. Okay? And so we see the fact that these trumpets had to be blown and used as these instruments while there was someone who discerned the times and knew that it was time to blow them. Right? And so, likewise, when we think about ourselves as these ones, as being these silver trumpets uh, made from this beaten work, we have to be able to know the times and things what's going on so that we're able to even warn and declare things to the people. Being able to discern and distinguish between the truth and a lie. Being able to understand if we are, in fact, behaving in a hypocritical sense and need to get ourselves straight before we go ahead and start talking to other people about getting themselves straight. Right? These are things that are necessary in the creation of these silver trumpets that we actually need to be. Let's look at something else that we're able to see inside of this same thought over here. Let's see. So to see this. Discretion. Discretion, prudence, or knowledge and prudence, that discernment which enables a person to judge critically of what is correct and proper, united with caution, nice discernment, and judgment, directed by circumspection and primarily regarding one's own conduct. Let's see here. So when we think about discretion, we think about discernment, these are actually elements of wisdom. These are elements of wisdom, right? Which are things that we find through the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? So these things are hammered into us, right? Or things are hammered out of us so that we're able to have and operate in discretion and discernment, right? When we think about the idea of discretion, right? You can have uh, some truth that you are ready to say to a person, and it be absolutely 100%, 110% the truth. But there has to be discretion used in the way that you do things, because it's not always advantageous for you to deliver a message any kind of way to everybody, right? Discretion has to be used, right? Which again, this is a byproduct of wisdom, right? It's a byproduct of being this silver trumpet that's been beaten, right? That's been shaped and formed before it was used as an instrument for the Most High. There's things that have to be hammered into us, right? We can't be out here in just a raw uh, state with no filter, no discernment and discretion. When you think about Israel in the wilderness, Israel in the wilderness was just a raw material. It was the people of the Most High, for sure. But he needed the people to be a particular way to go into the actual land. And so, therefore, he had to cut some things off. And those things had to just stay in the wilderness. where he was able to take a more perfect version of Israel into uh, the land out of the wilderness. And so when we think about our wilderness experience, us going through the wilderness, um, the same thing is true for you and I. We have to have this hammering out process be done, so that we can go and do the work of the Most High. You shouldn't be out here even doing the work of the Most High if you have never been beaten into shape, uh, going through the process of refining uh, that raw material into something that is usable by the Most High. We don't have any examples of that.
It's like wielding some metal that's supposed to be a sword, and you just got the metal. You're like trying to cut something.
Yeah.
You got a big old chunk of something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. Here. That's perfect segue. Let's go over here. Let me find my cursor. Let's go over to Malachi. Um, 3, 1 through 4. Hold on, let me get this out the way because I know this sometimes is problematic. Okay, very good.
See, I am sending my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And suddenly the master you are seeking comes to his heckle, even the messenger of the covenant, in whom you delight. See, he is coming, say Yahweh of hosts, and who is able to bear the day of his coming, and who is able to stand when he appears. For he is like a fire of a refiner, and like the soap of a launderer. And he shall sit as a refiner and a cleaner of silver, and he shall cleanse the sons of Levi, and renew them as gold and silver, and they shall belong to Yahweh, bringing near an offering in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Yerushalayim be pleasant to Yahweh, as in the days of old, as in former years.
Okay, very good. So we see over here something interesting that we see over here, that the Most High, it says, then shall the offering be pleasant to Yahweh. After the Levites are cleansed, like and go through the refinery like silver and gold. Once they get to the place where all of the impurities have been removed and they have been cleansed and purified, and then therefore able to go and do the things that he would have for them to do. But first it said he is like a fire of a refiner. Just like you were saying, when you sit up there and look at, if we go out here right now and mine some silver, there's a wide spectrum of natural silver that we may find. We may find some that's naturally mostly pure, with like a little bit of things that's not silver attached into it. And then we might find some things that's mostly something else with a little bit of silver attached to it. But the way in which that you extract the pure silver is to actually cook it and melt it down in this high temperature burning thing.
we was on the job site, and we had literally tons of copper wire, but it was wrapped up with the plastic on top of the copper,
Yeah,
right?
the insulation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So literally, in order to make the most money, you have to burn off all of that
Yes.
insulation
Yes.
and just take the copper. So we didn't have time to do all that. So we just took the copper in with the insulated, and we lost like
Yes.
literally probably like $10,000
Yes.
just for having that on.
I know.
Wow.
I know what you mean. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference. You know, when you go to these places, you know, these scrap yards, they, you know, they want the finished product because now they got to do another step, and so you could burn it, but then you got to clean the burn off too, which is another step. Or you could skin it, which is a long process,
Right.
which people hate doing that. You know, but the difference is that you have this valuable thing that's covered with invaluable with an invaluable thing that you need to remove to unlock the value of the thing. And so when you think about these raw materials, it's the same way. In order to get to this place, you have to look what this person says over here. Gold is refined at 1,000 to 1,200 degrees, which is hot. That's so hot. It's so hot. You taking this solid thing and making it be liquid. Okay, and so when you think about the Most High referring to His own self as a refiner, and these people who are indeed His workers, and them having to go through this refining process so that He could be pleased with the work that they're going to be doing. This thing over here is immense pressure on them. Right? Heat, anyway, from a molecular standpoint, is pressure and friction. Right? And molecules rubbing together so fast, it becomes fire. From friction and pressure.
I wanted to just, say that he ain't the refiner. He's like the fire of the refiner. So when you come to y'all, it's going to get hot. And it's going to be uncomfortable.
Man.
Might even hurt.
It will hurt. It's going to hurt. And it hurts because we love the impureness of ourselves. We love that stuff the most. Our dirtiest parts, we love the best. We have a close relationship with the dirt and the filth. And so for that to be removed is painful. It's painful. But it's necessary. It's a necessary thing.
Those impurities feel so good.
They feel so good.
They taste so good.
Oh my goodness.
They look so good.
Oh my goodness. Carnality.
Sounds so good.
At the end of the day, we're animals. At the end of the day, we are animals. And so all of the things that appease our animal nature just makes us just feel so at home. But the Most High wants for us to rise up to another level and forsake these things that lead us and guide us, which is our carnality and our impurities. And He wants to burn them things up so that He could use us to call out to His people, like the silver trumpets.
So there's a lot of people, who talk about, if you ain't got shiny things,
and you ain't got this and you ain't got that, if you going through a struggle, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But if you look at the scripture, Yeshua himself said, if you suffer with me, you shall reign with me.
That's what he said. He did say that. And so, what did you suffer then? What did you suffer? When did you suffer? When was you beaten with a hammer? When did you go through the fire where it was 1,000 degrees? Because this is what's necessary to form the trumpet that's used as an instrument to call out to the people. And so we got to understand that there is some things that we must needs to be able to go through so that we can come out on the other side and do a work that's pleasing unto the Most High. Again, we look over in Malachi, it said all of those things after it was refined. He said then he said, then he said, their offering shall be pleasant to Yahweh. After the refining process, after the natural raw material was not only transformed and separated and moved to a place. It's interesting when you think about the idea of this silver trumpet that's beaten. First of all, you gotta refine the silver, so you gotta burn it. First of all, but second of all, after you went through that process, which is a intense a process, then the forming starts. Not till after you done went through the separation and the purifying process. It had to go through the purifying process first, and then comes the hammer.
Yeah.
But we see all of that is in Numbers chapter 10 and verse 2 when it said, make these silver trumpets of silver out of a whole piece, you shall make them. Because what you gonna do? They not going to the store and buying no silver. Let's get some silver from the store and make this thing real quick. Even if you bought silver from the store, you still gotta melt it. It still gotta go through the fire. And so there's no way around the fire part. But that's only just the beginning. That's just the beginning part. It still got to get hammered and rounded and knotted and changed and formed so that it's able to do the job.
That's something. That's really something because, I mean, if you think about it, you know, most people go all their lives designing themselves. You know, I want to be this. I want to do that. And literally, they're making themselves into something that is unusable to the one who created them.
Mm-hmm.
He created them to be a certain way, and they said, nah, I'm good with that. I'm going to design myself to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And now they just unusable. So now they got to go through the fire. They got to be beaten into the person that is usable to the Most High.
Which is another reason why, when you think about this whole process, how it's so uncomfortable. Because again, if I spend my whole life shaping and molding myself into this person that, by this point, I like who I've become.
Yeah.
And now you sitting up here and saying that this is unacceptable?
Especially if you got a couple dollars in the bank account, you live in a nice little comfortable home with AC. You know what I'm
With
saying?
AC,
Feet
yeah.
kicked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Got the big screen.
Yeah.
You know, you living the life.
Yeah.
And then you find out, like, what? This ain't right.
Yeah.
That's when pride is generated. Yeah, prideful existence and
That's the epitome of pride.
yeah.
Because this is what I've done.
Right.
This is what I've done.
Self-made. They be like self-made.
Self-made.
Yeah.
That's the term. They got a shirt for that.
Yeah.
All of this, all
self-made.
of that. And then the most I come and say, no.
Mm-hmm.
All you did was accumulate impurities that I'm trying to burn off of you.
Mm.
It's some wonderfulness inside of that. But we got to separate all of that other stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
And then come the hammer. What does it say over here? For gold is tried in the fire, and the acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Ecclesiasticus. In the furnace of adversity. People don't respect adversity. But the scriptures help us to understand that adversity make us be the people that the Most High will have for us to be.
Yep.
Because what you gonna do when this, that, or the other thing happens?
Yeah.
You gonna act the way the Most High will have you. The thing about it is that let me help you. This is some jewels right here. I'm about to lay on you.
Oh.
I'm about to lay something on you right here. Let me see something real quick.
This is a direct Akkad exclusive.
Listen, if you, the Most High he gonna try to teach you a lesson, and y'all willing, you pass the test. But guess what? If you don't pass, you gonna have to retake the lesson. You got to retake it. You gonna have to retake the test.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got people out here who, maybe they got an issue with, say, patience. You're going to be in a situation where patience is necessary. And then you're going to lose your patience. And so guess what? You got to take the test again. And that's adversity. You're going to be going through this adversity until you make it to the other side with a passing grade.
Mm.
Until you get that passing grade, you ain't going nowhere. That furnace of adversity makes you be what the Most High wants for you to be. And, we out here trying to run from adversity and wanting for our lives to be peaches and cream. But that's not what this is. This life ain't that.
That's everything. You gotta just jump in the fire, get it over with. You know, well, it's like you just jump in there, take it and just get the process. Humble. That's the thing. Humble yourself. That's the thing. Because people don't want to humble. That's the fire. The fire is supposed to humble you. People run from you. The humbling.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, Isaiah 1:25. What's that say?
So then I shall turn my hand against you, and shall refine your dross as the lie, and shall remove all your alum.
We think about that dross here. This verse 25. This here is the refuse, or that's the scum. That's the scum that's on top. That stuff that gets burned up, raised to the top, and just gets scraped off. But that's that pride though. Right? That's all of those things that you love so much that the Most High wants to burn up and get out of you.
You see, you turn his hand against you. His hand's against you until that stuff is
Oh
off.
my
you.
goodness! Oh my goodness!
Like,
Oh my goodness!
so how's it? His hand's not
Wow!
his hand's not helping
Wow!
you unless that stuff come off.
He
of
putting his hands on you,
you.
and not in the way that you want for him to put them on you.
Yeah.
He putting his hands on you. He's working in your life, all right.
Yeah, right.
By putting his hands on you and refining you.
But then people like, oh, that devil getting me.
That ain't nothing but the Most High putting his hands on you, so that he could come away with a more perfect instrument that he could use. That he could use. He want to use you, but you got too much alloy on you. You got too much dross on you that he wants to get rid of, so he could just have a pure raw materials. Let's look at this over here. Psalms 119. I can't see that. 119, 37.
It says, turn away my eyes from looking at falsehood and revive me in your way.
Okay, very good. Turn my eyes from beholding vanity. Vanity. Desolating, evil thing. False things. Deception. Deceptiveness. Right? All of these things that we saying, you know, we need to turn away from these things. These things over here these is your baseline though. This is where you starting from. Turn my eyes away from beholding vanity, all of these vain things. But these is the thing that's already in you that you need to get burnt out of you and then hammered so that you're able to be the instrument that the Most High called for you to be. Until you do that, how you gonna be his instrument? How you gonna be his instrument? You two pieces of metal mashed together with some bolts and screws. And he said he want a single piece.
It's like, yeah, you gotta try to add your own stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like the Mandalorian. Walking around, you just adding pieces to yourself one piece at a time. But he just want one single piece though. One single piece. That they gonna melt down, get rid of the impurities, and then get the hammer out on you. You ain't even done. It seems like it's the worst part. But that's just the first part. You could use that if you want. You could do something with that.
Bars.
I look at Job in 15. Job chapter 15. Job 15 and 31.
Says, let him not trust in falsehood, deceiving himself, for falsehood is his reward.
We out here, we talked about last week, you already got damnation on you if you never came to the Most High. This is your baseline. This is where you start off at. You already wrong from the jump street. right? And so all we out here doing outside of Messiah is trusting in falsehoods. All we out here doing is deceiving ourselves if we never came to Messiah. All we out here doing is walk around with our impure gold that never been refined. Talking about look how shiny I am. Well, yeah, you shining that little piece, but you got all that black stuff around it. Like
It's like having some pearly whites, right? But then you got like stuff caked all in the gums and in the cracks.
The only reason why I understand what you talking about is because I seen that. I seen somebody with just and it's terrible. It's terrible, right? Where you see somebody, oh, they got a nice smile, and then they smile all the way, and then you see like,
All the impurity.
oh man,
And it just turns you off.
it just ruins it, right? It takes something that's potentially beautiful and ruins it. And so, how much more so when we have ourselves as we're we're all created from the Most High. He made every single one of us, but He made us in this raw state. Well, we got some goodness in there somewhere, but He got to burn away all this nastiness first, so they can get to the goodness. You got to get to the goodness first before He could use you. People out here, they find out that the Most High made them. They find out that there is a one who is the creator and sustainer of all things, and He did indeed make me. And so now I got to get out here and do this work. Except they never got in the fire though. They just found out that there was an Elohim. They even just said, "You are my Elohim," but they didn't never get in the fire though. They didn't never get burnt, and they never got them impurities burnt off of them, and then they didn't never get the hammer after the fact. So how was they gonna be an instrument? At the end of the day, they just like this over here, trusting in vanity, and vanity, in fact, is their reward. Because the Most High can't use you if you not dealing in His truth. And so when we dealing in His truth, He's removing all of the lies from us. But we can't know the truth. We can't know the truth unless we actually walking with the truth. What do verse number 6 say?
So Yeshua said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
Okay, so we out here living, but guess what? If you never accepted Yeshua into your life, that's not life, because He's the life. And so if you never was connected to life, what's this thing that you live in? It can't be life. How could it be? Because you're not connected to the one who is life. If you not connected to the truth, you can't know the truth. How could you know it? You can't know the truth if you never was connected to the truth. Because Yeshua is the truth. And so when we talking about being connected to the truth, experiencing real life, we talking about the Most High actually purifying and removing these lies and the death from us so that we're able to experience the truth and the life. Otherwise, we just gonna be out here trusting in these vain things. Here, let's go down a little bit to verse. That's say so.
It says, the spirit of the truth, whom the world is unable to receive, because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you.
The spirit of truth. The world can't receive the spirit of truth, so the world can't be refined by the spirit, by the Ruach Hakodesh. The world got to make a change in order to be able to receive the spirit of truth, so that it could be refined by the spirit and then beaten with the hammer. And then begin doing his work. But all of these things are predicated on the Ruach HaKodesh coming and dwelling on the inside of you and transforming you and changing you.
Oh, that's deep, because I'm going to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Talking about the spirit of truth, and the world's unable to receive it, but we get it because we go through the fire. But when Yeshua come back, he coming with fire to the world, because that's the only way to fix the world is with that fire. And he gonna beat everything in back to get it back in order. So it's like, you better go through the fire now, or go through that fire when you want to do it now, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The fire and that rod.
The rod,
to beat it.
Yeah, to beat the nation
in the submission.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you think about it, you know, the kingdom of Elohim is returning to this earth. And so when that fire comes, it's the same thing. It's destroying impurities. And so if you've never been purified, when he come back and purify this earth, you're going to burn up. It's as simple as that. And so he's either going to burn the impurities off of you, or you going to burn with the impurities. One of the two of those things is going to happen.
Because the world ain't able to receive it.
Mm-mm.
So the world got to be burnt.
Because the world's impure.
Yeah.
He's purifying the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the beginning stages of that process is you being purified, so that you could go and purify somebody else, and then they could go and purify somebody else. Because when the fire comes, only the pure will live.
That's why I said the kingdom is within us. It's within you. You got to be pure to get there.
That's it.
When you get that fire, you can't see. Said you can't even see the kingdom. You don't go through that. You get that fire on you. Yep.
And so, you know, thinking about Numbers chapter 10 and these trumpets, these silver trumpets of one piece. Again, in order to do the work of the Most High, in order to be the people that He wants for us to be, you got to go through the fire. You got to go through the fire. The fire from on high is some serious fire. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, it is. But that's the only way that we're able to be able to go and do whatever it is that He has for us to do. Call out to His people, gather His people, bring His people closer to the kingdom of Elohim.
And then you can't to add more onto it. Like when you look into how instruments are made, like that process. Like you go to the instrument store and they got the lower end stuff and the higher end stuff. Like, dang, that trumpet costs $10,000.
Yeah.
But whether it's older from some historical value, but the best stuff gets its value with how it's made.
Yep.
And so
that's true.
If it's the purest of pure, or the way the workmen put it together, that's the most valuable stuff. And when you go back to numbers, you think about it, all these instruments, if you go to the store and you get the most expensive one, that usually has like a signature sound. It's like that sound, the cheap ones can't make that sound. It's like you gotta spend the money to get that sound. So it's like to get that righteousness, to get what the Most High want out of us, which is that that level of righteousness, you gotta go through that process to be refined like that.
Yeah.
That's the value.
I mean, I play the bass guitar. When you get those high end basses, it's a piece of wood. It's one piece of wood. The low end basses, you gonna have there's gonna be some screws connecting the neck to the body. But them unibody ones, that's one piece. Those is the ones that cost more money than having a neck and having a body and then some bolts and connecting it together. All right, because it's just taking just that one piece. It just gotta be one piece. Right? It gotta be one piece that he's making. You can't sit up here and try to add stuff together to make to kind of replicate what it is that the Most High wants to do inside of you. You can't take a little piece. I swear. When I came back, I had good intentions. When I came back to the Most High, I had good intentions. But I felt like I was able to look at the best parts of Islam and the Nation of Islam and the 5%ers and the Bible and all of that stuff, and had something that was some kind of amalgamation of all of those things. I had good intentions, but at the end of the day, that's nothing but some foolishness.
You were trying to Voltron
I wanted to vote. I thought I could Voltron the
put
thing.
them all together, make
I
the
thought-
super.
Yeah, this is the ultimate. Like, but that's some foolishness. I didn't know. But the closer I got to the Most High, the more I was able to understand that was indeed foolishness. Because he ain't about nuts and bolts. He just about one piece. Him. It's all about the Most High. All right, let's look at a couple more of these scripts. Cause we trying to be like these two silver trumpets. All right, let's go over here. Let's go over to Isaiah. Let's see, Isaiah. People out here, and they just in a lie because they not going through the right processes.
Yeah.
What do verse hold on, let me pull it up on the screen. What do verse 28 say?
So then his breath shall be as an overflowing stream which reaches up to the neck, to sift the nations with a sieve of falsehood and a misleading bridle on the jaws of the people.
When you out here in some foolishness, when you out here in some foolishness, the Most High gonna let you be in some foolishness, and then He gonna sit up here and put one of them little things in your mouth, like would be in the horse's mouth, and just lead you in your foolishness. It said a misleading bridle in the jaws. That thing that's in the horse's mouth that the person that's sitting on top direct the horse with.
Turn them every which way.
When you out here in your wickedness, the Most High gonna just start leading you around in your wickedness with that bridle of that misleading bridle in your jaws, because you didn't never want to bow down to the true and living Elohim.
This has been a problem for me as of late. I've been really bothered by, some of the people that I love. You know what I mean? That I'm literally, exposing them to the truths and leaving no room for, no wobbling or waffling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and they don't even want to look at it. Like the conversation goes in a direction to where they know there is no, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got no room.
Yeah.
Their back's against the wall, and they literally just stop communicating. They don't, they don't answer no more. They walk out of the room. They go outside. It's like, where you going? Like, you don't want to? I'm about to show you this. No, I don't want to see that. They literally just walk away from the truth when they know that what they believe is a lie, but they're going to stick to the lie and cling to the lie and turn their backs on the truth. And that's literally happened to me like 3 times this week with people I love.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard, but until you know the truth, who is Yeshua, you living a lie. You're literally living a lie if you don't know the truth. He said, I'm the way, I'm the truth, and I am the life. So you're lost because He's the way. You're living a lie because He's the truth, and you're not experiencing life. You're dead outside of Yeshua. You just that raw piece of silver there that never got burnt and never got the hammer. And it's hard. It's hard when we have family members, loved ones who reject. But it gets to the point where you can't bring people over into the truth. You just can't.
Okay.
The only thing you could do is introduce them to the real Messiah. That's the only thing you could do. Because they got this misleading bridle in their jaws.
Yeah.
You trying to bring them into the truth, and the misleading bridle is taking them over that way.
Yeah.
All you could do is introduce them to the authentic Messiah, who is Yeshua. That's the only thing you could do. Anything else, you fighting against this.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, he doing that.
Right. Oh,
Giving them that strong delusion.
It's a strong
You
delusion.
want to believe the lie? Okay.
Yeah.
You're a stronger lie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go crazy because they crazy. Because some people can go crazy trying to help for other
I just
people.
was like,
Yeah.
That's all you could do. That's what he tell you to do. I mean, you can only say what you can say, but I think where we get what hurts us is when we want to sit up here and make points with people. We've all done this, but just thinking about it, it's all futile. You can't really make points with these people. The only thing you could do is introduce them to the truth, which is Yeshua, not this life that we live.
right.
Because that, that's something that comes after. They got to know who Yeshua really is and then meet with him. Otherwise, it's you fighting against that bridle in their mouth. What this say over here? 2 Thessalonians 2. Start reading that verse 8 right there.
Okay. And the lawless one shall be. Oh, let me read again. And the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. Keep going?
Yeah.
The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit and of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved.
11.
And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who do not believe the truth, but have delighted in the unrighteousness.
Yeah. And so when we sit up here and deal with these trumpets, they not silver trumpets. They're not silver trumpets that's been beaten with a hammer. They out here and they're doing a work. But it's not what the Most High called for them to be doing, because they didn't never meet the qualifications. They were supposed to have went through the fire, got burnt up, and then beaten into a single piece, so that they could be an instrument unto the Most High. And so we go out here and we sit up here and say, you need to be doing this, you need to be keeping Shabbat, you need to stop being out here saying Jesus and all this stuff. And it don't matter what you said, because it says they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. The love of the truth. Yeah. And for that reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion. And they believe a falsehood. They believe this thing that's not true. They believe it wholeheartedly, because they don't have a real relationship with the Most High or His Son. We need to get in that fire and be refined and purified, so that we can be an instrument used by the Most High. We need that. We need that. What does it say over here in James? James 2. James 2 and 8. James 4 and 8.
draw near to Elohim, and he shall draw near to you. Cleanse hands, cleanse hands, sinners, and cleanse the hearts, you double-minded.
You double minded. Cleanse your hands. Cleanse hands. Sinners. Cleanse the hearts. You double minded. We got to turn away from these wicked ways and draw near unto Elohim so that we can really be and do the things that he had for us to be doing. And understand that this hammering work that the that we need in our lives, this refining process that we have to go through, again, is just the beginning of the process of getting rid of all of these impurities so that the Most High is able to shape us and mold us into what He would have for us to be doing. But this hammering work that He does in our lives is the beginning of what we all need to be cultivated land that the Most High is able to grow His word inside of. And so when we think about, we're gonna end off with this over here. When we think about what Yeshua talks about in Matthew's, when he talks about the sower, this is very important for us when we want to be instruments for the Most High, because there's a process that we have to go through in order to be able to be what He would have for us to be. He don't turn a switch on in our lives. He don't come in our lives and turn a switch on.
Yeah.
What He do is turn us in a particular direction and say, go that way.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that you face, I'll be there with you when you face it. But the kingdom's over there.
Yeah, keep walking.
Go there. All right, go. Ain't no switch. If it's a switch, it's a go button.
Yeah.
But it ain't just like, now I'm perfect.
I'm good now. Nobody can tell me nothing now.
I'm good now.
I know.
This is it. That's not how this goes. It's kind of like this over here. It's just an arrow. It's just an arrow. Go that way. I'll come with you. Let's start walking.
I mean, if you think about all of the good things that happen when you know, the processes you go through to get anything good in this world.
Yeah.
It's a process that is a difficult process. You know what I mean? Like
Every time.
Yeah, you think about
I don't want nothing easy.
the food itself. You know, like the food you eat every day. It got to go through this difficult growing process. It got to bust through the earth. You know what I'm saying? It got to make it past all of the creatures and animals that's trying to eat it. And,
all that.
You know what I mean? It needs to be nurtured and
saying
watered.
something.
It's a whole long process.
You saying something.
To get healthy, like if you're unhealthy, you got to eat right. You got to go to the gym. You got to exercise. You got to do all this stuff is hard. But everybody wants that dream body. But nobody wants to do the hard work.
It's hard work. It's hard work. Ain't nothing in this world easy. If anything that's easy, I don't want it. Because that thing probably wicked.
Yeah, that's a good example. Like you take it to why people get these cancers and all these health problems. Well, it didn't take one day for you to get sick like that. That was years of doing the wrong thing.
Yes.
And you think in this little bit of time, people want this one pill. this pill gonna fix it. Nah, you gotta change your whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
Health and
All that.
these things is a whole lifestyle. So yeah, same with this,
Yeah.
and it don't stop.
It don't
Like
stop.
like it say, he that endureth to the end. So when you go on the path, you walk the path to the end till you die.
Can't stop.
And just think about
Won't
this.
stop.
Those people who are living this unhealthy lifestyle and doing these different things, they die
Exactly.
behind it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing here. If you don't do what the Most High says to do and go through the process that He has laid out, you're going to die.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
The time
He's
is
put
short.
before us life and death.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And He
Choose.
tells us to choose.
Pick one.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I'm saying something right there. Let's read this. Let's go from verse 3, down to verse 9.
It says, and he spoke to them, this is Matthew 13:3, and he spoke to them in parables, saying, see, the sower went out to sow. As he sowed,
I just knocked this out of the thing. We had to get back in. Okay.
did the sound go out too?
Yeah, the whole thing went out.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Start back again at verse number.
It says, and he spoke to them in much in parables, saying, see, the sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And the others fell on rocky places, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. And others fell among thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. And others fell on good soil and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. He who has ears to hear, let him hear.
Okay, very good. So what we want to talk about over here, in relation to what we're talking about in terms of this hammering work, which we saying really is cultivation, is that this good soil over here, this good soil had to be actually worked. The good soil had to be worked in order to be good soil, so that when the seed went in it, it didn't have to compete with nothing. It didn't have to compete with rocks, right? And stony and rocks all up in it. It didn't have to compete with thorns and thistles, because them things got moved out the way. It was deep and rich with nutrients, so it was able to form roots, so that when that seed grew, it actually grew. And so when we think about that in relation to what we're talking about, that's now taking this purified thing and beating it and shaping it and molding it the way that it's supposed to be, right? With this good soil. If we look over here, let's Let's see what this says over here. If we pulled up, we type in here. Let's see. We type in here. That's say to till, to prepare for crops, to manure, to plow, dress, sow, reap, to labor on, manage, and improve in husbandry, to cultivate land, to cultivate a farm, to improve by labor or study, to advance the growth of, to refine and improve by correction of faults and enlargement of powers or good qualities, as to cultivate talents, cultivate a taste for poetry. Let's see here. To study, to labor, to improve, to advance. Let's see. To cherish, to foster, to labor, to promote and increase. All of these things deal with you doing things now that's moving you in a particular direction of success. Okay, because you've been purified. You've been through the fire. You've been purified, but now you got to be shaped. So when we talk about this, we think about the idea of we got to open up now this book. You got to learn and see what it is that it say inside of this book. Right? You got to be able to add and subtract things to your life according to what it's saying over here. To labor. If we're talking about tilling a land, if I'm sitting up here, I'm breaking up the ground. I'm breaking it up. You was over there. Y'all had a mechanical one, right? That you ride. But what did that thing do to the ground whenever you ran over it?
Busted it up.
It busted that thing up. And then people think they ain't supposed to come around and just get busted up.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, sometimes people, you just got to get busted up. And you got to know that I'm just only busting you up so I can put.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to kill you. I want you to live and experience life. But you got so much hard dirt on top of your thing that you need to be tilled.
You got weeds in there.
You got weeds and everything else. All kind of stuff growing in there. Poison ivy. Rocks. All kind of stuff. And that stuff got to get violently removed.
Mm-hmm.
That thing got to be tilled up so that the seed could even just grow inside of there. And so all that stuff is the hammering that got to happen so that you could be shaped, so that you could be molded into the thing that the Most High will have for you to be. The best thing that Yeshua talks about over there is that good land. But that good land's only good because it got tilled, it got dug up. It was ready to receive the seed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made it good.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have all this other stuff in there with it. It was ready to receive it. When we come into this life, we got to be ready to receive everything that the Most High has for us to receive. We got to be ready for it because He's ready to give it to us. And we got to be ready to receive it. And being ready to receive it, that looks like you just doing whatever it takes in order for you to be able to find success in this walk. And then, by the way, you don't even know whatever it is, what it takes. You don't know what it takes.
Yeah, I was going to say that the biggest thing for people is to know that you don't got it. The people think they got it. People think they know.
But you need to know. You need to know.
Not till you get burnt that you really know. Like you gotta get beat.
You gotta get beat, but that's after you get burnt. That's what I'm saying. You after you get burnt, and purified, then that's when the hammering starts. But if I don't never agree to the process, then I can't be I can't be made into an instrument then.
No.
I mean, you got people out here who's literally making these mistakes, hating the mistakes that they make,
Yeah.
getting on their own nerves, and then they keep doing the same thing.
That's because they got that bridle of deception in their mouth. Unfortunately, it's I mean, that's just what it is. You got that when you got that strong delusion on you, you do stuff that don't make that's detrimental to your own self. You don't even want to do it, but you're sick and diseased.
They need to make a drink called Strong Delusion.
They got that already.
Bust open cans. They busting open cans of Strong Delusion.
They got that. They got 40s of it. You could get a 40 of Strong Delusion at your neighborhood store.
It really got that? No, I was relieved. Hey, man. Because I would believe it. I believe it.
That's how these people was acting out here.
Yeah.
They drunk off of it. Lit.
Yeah.
They lit off of that 40 of Strong Delusion.
Oh, goodness.
And it's just it's a process, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna be the best thing that you ever did. And I can't even say in your life, because you just now starting to live.
Yeah.
Once you come
Right,
to Messiah,
right.
Exactly.
all that other stuff was just preliminary to this.
Yeah.
And so, we got to know that, in order to be the instruments that the Most High calls for us to be, He's going to take our unrefined self, and yes, we are indeed unrefined. He's going to take our unrefined self and refine us. But refining us takes heat and pressure, fire. What does it say? People are ready to receive Yah on their terms, not His. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not His. That's
not
but
him.
you not ready then.
Yeah.
You're not ready. If you want to receive Yah on your own terms, then you not ready. Because He ready to give you some that you never even could even think about. Because you're living a lie. You don't have any inkling or idea what truth is or what it looks like until you come to Messiah.
But the people think it's supposed to feel good. I come to be righteous. Life's supposed to get better. I'm
that's
supposed
a gospel
to.
right there. That's a gospel that's the other gospel that somebody done made up.
Yeah.
That's a lie right there from the
Making
pit of
people
hell.
feel like
that's
making
it.
people think that if it don't feel good,
Right.
if you ain't in a good place,
If it ain't comfortable,
then Most High ain't with you.
Exactly.
You could get to that place only after you got hammered,
Exactly.
which is that's down the road. After you get out that fire, and after you get hammered, then now your life about to start looking better now.
Exactly.
But you got to get hammered first. You got to get hammered first.
Yeah. It hurt. The fire hurt. Then you cool down. Beat. that when you get beat, that generate heat too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when he beating you to what you need to look like, you don't gotta get beat. It happens less, and it's like.
And when you get to that place where you look like what he want to look, what you look like, the world ain't gonna like you.
Exactly.
Nope.
Right. Exactly.
So now you got a whole other type of pain, discomfort thing that comes with that. Because now people who you thought was with you It's actually against
Because now you start singing the right tune.
you.
Now he's beating you in the right tune, and you start singing, and the world don't like that tune.
Mm-mm.
And now
They
the
don't
world
like
gonna
that
be
song you
against
playing.
Exactly. That's that new song you said we gonna play. The world don't like that new song.
No. And so we gonna end on that note and just say that we have to know that first of all the Most High only just wants to be with us. He only wants for us to be with Him. But at the same time, he's letting us know that it's a difficult road that He wants for us to be on, but He's not going to just let us be on it alone.
Right.
He's going to be on the road with us. He's going to put us with other people to all face the journey together in Him, so that we can all make it to the place that He has for us to be. But we have to be willing and ready and able to go through the fire and to go through the forming that Yeshua wants to do in our lives, so that we can be perfected. Okay? All right. So, that being said, we want to remind everyone to, if you haven't subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification button. Let all the people on your little social media things know that we over here, and we're trying to expand the kingdom of the Most High. All right. So that being said, for now we want to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Y'all willing, on next week we'll be back talking about more of this Torah. All right? All right. Shabbat Shalom.